This is how I dive La Jolla Shores at night in San Diego, California. Let's get right to it. The first thing I should talk about is parking. You're going to have to be careful because in the main parking lot here, they lock it after a certain time. If you're going to park in there, check on the sign to see what time it closes because they will lock it and they will lock you in. Alternately, you can park along the streets. The dive plan is going to be the same plan I use when I dive the main wall during the day. I have another video on that. I'll link that video in the description so you can take a look at that. But this is just going to be a basic video kind of showing what a night dive feels like and the types of things you might see. You'll walk out straight out from Vallecitos Street, surface swim out to about this point, drop down onto the wall, swim along the wall, check things out, and then you'll head back east, or if you prefer southeast, which would kind of get you back closer to where you parked. Surf in this area is usually bigger than in this area. So if it's a bigger surf day, you might want to angle back towards Vallecitos Street. All right, here we are entering the water on Vallecitos Street. It's about 10 o'clock, I think. We got a late start this time. We're gonna have a 15-minute swim out, and then I'm gonna show you the lineup that we use. It's the white street light and the orange light on the stop sign a little bit lower to the left. We aren't quite lined up correctly here. It's a little bit difficult to see. You need to check those lineups before you start swimming out so you can follow them out. And then regarding the lineup on the pier that I usually use during the daytime, that tells me how far out to swim, I don't have that reference point at night. I'm basically just using experience, making a good estimation. If you want to do a night dive and still have solid lineups for distance, get in the water a little bit before sunset when you can still see them. So right when we dropped down, there was some cool rockfish, sand dollars. We did drop a little bit early and had a long swim out to the canyon wall, but it worked out perfect because on the way out, we ended up seeing this adult horn shark. You can see the two little white horns on top of the dorsal fins. Sometimes I see these guys during the day, but whenever I see them at night, they're a lot more interactive. They'll come up to you, I guess find your lights. I'm not sure if they're hunting in your lights, but they'll come up to you, sometimes swim under you and bump you. And watch this little fish right here. It's gonna come, boom, it attacks him. I don't know what happened there. I don't know what that's all about. Is it defending a nest? There were also quite a few target shrimp out tonight. They've got that great blue color on their tail and the target on the side. And then we came across this cool octopus just stretching out. I love watching him do that. And check out this juvenile horn shark. They're obviously smaller, the spots are closer together, they're a bit more tan. And these guys, I don't usually see them being active. The larger ones will move around, bump up against you. Whenever I find these, they're just chilling exactly like this. Eventually we made it out to the wall and dropped down. Visibility was a bit better than it looks here. My lights are reflecting off the particles, so it looks bad, but it was actually really decent. One of the first things we saw when we dropped down was another octopus. We're going to see a nice color change in a minute. Also off to the left, there's a couple of speckled sand dabs. Alright, look at that dramatic change. And then we had a little cameo here by this pair of mating crabs. And this beautiful tube-dwelling sea anemone. I could watch these guys for hours. And we found this thornback ray a little bit deeper off of the wall. And as we came back up, we found this California scorpion fish. So we're on the wall heading towards Vallecitos Point. This whole wall right here was broken off a few months back, and it was clean with no life, and you can see some texture as life starts to grow back. A few minutes swim north of Vallecitos Point, Aldo found the engine block, the famous La Jolla Shores engine block. It had been fully covered in sand for the last year or two, but a recent storm uncovered it. And on it he found this little kelp crab. It's going to be kind of difficult to see. It's a bit red, kind of a thin-bodied, long, skinny arms. I wish I'd had a macro lens with me today. I talked to somebody the other day that said it looked like the engine block was starting to get covered up again. It's definitely dark on these dives, and if your light or your buddy's light's not shining something, you can't see it. The first few times I did this, it was a little bit nerve-wracking, and I'd have to focus on something cool on the wall to calm down. This stick was also exposed a few months back when a part of the wall broke off, but it still looks like a stick. It must have been down there for thousands of years, right? Under all these layers. The other cool thing right here is you'll see on the top of this wall, all the little holes and crevices. The parchment worms used to live in that area. And when the wall broke off, it exposed all the holes they had dug. Here's another thornback ray and 2 small sand dabs to its right. And I don't know what these are. Are these feathered worms growing off of another shell, kind of reaching out to grab a meal? Any ideas? And then here we have a few more target shrimp, as well as a yellow crab. Alright, now we're heading back towards shore in an eastward direction. You probably want to go take a look at the main wall dive video that I did before during the daytime to get a better idea of how to navigate this. It's a bit difficult to explain at night, so best to watch that video. But we've got probably about a 15-minute swim in. On our way in, we came across this flounder. There's a few different species of the flounders out here. There's the halibut, the sole, the speckled sand dab that we pointed out earlier. I'm not sure what this guy is. It's not a sand dab. It's not a halibut. This was kind of a cool find. I've never seen them before out here, but when talking to other divers, apparently they see them all the time. Maybe I just hadn't taken notice. But this is a spotted cusk eel. And Aldo spotted a little crab. Alright, we're getting to the area where these sand dollars are, which means we're in a similar place to where we initially dropped. And you can really see the surge starting to pick up again as we get into the shallower areas. And then we found this little crab hiding under this sand dollar, which was pretty cool. Before I started diving, I hadn't realized that sand dollars actually look like this when they're alive, and they stand themselves up sideways in the water collecting food. And once we got to about 10 feet of water, we surfaced so we could surface behind the breaking waves and come up so we could keep an eye on them as we surface swam back in towards shore.